you own a home or have plans to in the future? Don't miss the Dino and Nelson Show, Sunday afternoons at 1 p.m. on Money Radio, KTLK, AM 1150. You'll get all the information you need to know about what's happening in the local real estate market and how to take advantage of that knowledge. How to approach home ownership or mortgage financing with design, vision, and focus, as well as accurate information. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, listen to Real Estate Radio with Dino and Nelson Sunday afternoons at 1 p.m. right here on Money Radio, KTLK, AM 1150.
Good afternoon, Southern California. This is Dino from the Dino and Nelson Show. Nelson and I have a great show for you here today with a couple realtors from Keller Williams, which we'll announce later, and Scott from Roadrunner Exterminating to tell us all about what the little rodents don't want us to know. And our first segment, however, is going to be Hot Off the Net, brought to you by First Centennial Mortgage.
And as we go through the program today, Dina, we're going to be touching on different pieces of information regarding mortgages and finance. How do people get a hold of us? What's the best way?
You know, the easiest way is just text the word refi to 31 31 31. That's 31 31 31, and just text the word refi, and we'll get a hold of you right after that. Perfect.
And then we also have our toll-free number.
We do, which is 888-814-3335. 888-814-3335, or, of course, the DinoandNelsonShow.com.
Perfect. So I was looking at some of the things going on, and you know, the general sentiment, I don't know if you're taking a lot of questions, fielding a lot of questions this way, but I'm hearing a lot of our customers ask on what's happening with the market. Is the market going down in value? Is it going up in value? Are we in a recession, going out of a recession, going back into a recession? There is so much confusion out there. I thought we'd just spend a few moments talking about that.
You know, actually, for the first time, I'm seeing this turn because I'm not being asked the question as much. I'm not being questioned about it as much. It's something I think that the buyers, sellers, everybody is finally just believes that the market has turned. Things are better.
Well, and this is something that I picked up from Zillow. Their CEO, Stan Humphreys, had some questions that I thought really were spot on. One was, how should people read the numbers? Obviously, every week, economic forecasts come out, and there seems to be a little bit of a tug-of-war in terms of the numbers, showing promise one week, showing decline the next. And
I hate the numbers. Every time I hear numbers, if you really wanted to and get a little more, dissect them a little bit more and get the details of them, there's so many ways these numbers can be skewed that it doesn't make sense to me. You know, there's just too many ways they can be misconstrued.
And the best way, I think, to read the numbers in response to that question is doing it over an extended period of time as opposed to month to month, because then it's just going to be popcorn popping all over the place, and you don't have clear direction. You don't have trends established.
And popcorn popping all over the place.
There you go.
I got that one. I'm going to use that later today.
Yeah, no, okay. I know it. That's clever. So it's. I think that the advice would be is, as opposed to a week-to-week analysis of the market, is are we in a recession this week? Are we out of the recession next week? Look at year over year to establish trend lines, or if not that, maybe 6-month periods of time to establish a trend.
Right. Agreed.
All right. So what's your read on this question? Most people are trying to figure out if the market has hit bottom or is now in recovery as far as real estate values. Has the market hit bottom?
Well, yeah, it has. It already hit bottom a while ago. It's already turned. It is now a seller's market. Price of homes are going for more than what the asking price is. There's multiple offers on homes, and it's a fantastic time to buy. The people every once in a while will say, no, it hasn't. It's because certain areas are still a little depressed, maybe.
Right.
Houses are a true piece of, you know what, because it was a foreclosure and somebody just completely gutted the thing and
sat
just
empty for
it.
a number of months.
Yeah, so that's why, especially now during these times when you hear numbers, maybe a house sold for $150,000 less than it should have, but it has no toilets. It has, cracked flooring. It has just everything you could imagine. So, yeah, no, in my opinion, the market has changed and pricing has gone up.
Yeah, and I think that's, really there's a formula there where the market goes through this trough period. It's quiet. There's not clear signs of activity. There is that consumer pullback, if you will. Then the investment community rushes in. And this is what we've seen over maybe the first quarter or the last few quarters of the investment community coming in, buying up investment properties, rental properties.
Right.
And there's been a flurry of activity there. And then the mainstream buyers come back in and are now starting to buy. And I think this is what you're referencing in terms of multiple offers that we're seeing on properties, correct?
Correct. And whenever you have investors, I look at it and say that it is a non-emotional buy, that it's something that they're doing to make money. So therefore, when they analyze the property they're looking to buy, they're making a business decision on it. And if all these investors are jumping in right now, most of them are paying cash. And even if they're not, whatever the situation is they're in and they're buying. Therefore, the numbers are making sense now. This segment's been brought to you by First Centennial Mortgage. And in case you just jumped in your car, this is the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. Every Sunday from 1 to 2 o'clock. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Or text the word refi to 313131.
So there's this consumer feeling like a piece of taffy, which is a common description that I think they just feel whipsawed with the economic news. And
taffy,
I think
whipsawed. Oh my goodness.
And so you have, that general sentiment out there of what do I do, what do I don't do. Is the consumer, are the home buyers out there, is the real estate market fragile, or do you think Keller Williams will be able to address that?
I think Keller Williams will address it, and I don't think anybody's fragile.
You don't think anybody's fragile. You think the market is now on sound footing and we're pointed in one direction.
We are running.
All right. So let me ask you this. When a buyer is looking at economic data, what should they look at? How do they try and figure out the market?
We should start with their wallet size.
Depending
on how big their wallet is, they can look at the market.
Yeah.
Now, give me a better question.
I think that where I was leading with that, I think that there are two specific barometers, and they're easy to follow. Rather than following the consumer price index or this index or that index, following two simple things: home values and the cost of money. What are interest rates doing?
For me, obviously, being in the mortgage industry, the cost of money, the interest rates, plays a much bigger part, because money is so cheap right now that even if you overpaid by a little bit, it's worth it. As long as you're keeping the home long term and you're getting into a 30-year fix under 4%, my goodness. Even if I paid $50,000 more for the property, it wouldn't bother me. I mean, at the end of the day, I am making a fortune by saving so much money.
Right. Making a budget decision and not worrying about whether you hit the absolute bottom in terms of the acquisition price.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. This week has been crazy, and spilling over from last week, we have seen the bottom fall out of interest rates.
We have. My gosh, it is. The rates dropped. The market's doing fantastic. It is getting calls left and right from everybody, all my old clients. I don't even have time. Normally, I like to pride myself on having good customer service. So I like to call my clients first. And
just like to pride yourself.
I do.
Yeah.
And I say, listen, I got an opportunity. You can save an extra $150 every single month for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, and it's, that message is always out there. The rates have just dropped, record lows, blah, 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 blah. But when I see that deer in headlights look from you, watching interest rates drop, going, wow, look at this.
It hasn't just been like little incremental numbers like when you see on the news or you're reading the paper, rates have dropped all time low. This is like the real deal. They really have. It actually has dropped that much right now. It is, you can get high 3%, no cost whatsoever.
Yeah, let me tell you.
And real quick, I'm not being specific to interest rates because we can get in a lot of trouble for doing that. So call us at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. And whether it's me or Nelson, one of us will directly answer all your questions.
Let me just tell you the stats where they are right now. We saw, and these are national averages, 15-year fixed rates finally break through that barrier and are below 3%. So we're in the twos on the 15-year fixed rates. The 30-year conforming mortgages down at 3.5% or below 3.5%. And then get this, I know we talked about this last week, but I'm just staggered on the high balance. The super jumbo money that goes up to $2.5 million. We're now down below 4.25%. I mean, it is unbelievable to think that you can get $1.5 million or $2 million mortgage now in the low fours.
That is absolutely crazy. It's giving money away. They're begging you to go buy houses.
They're begging you to go buy houses.
You're listening to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335 or the DinoandNelsonShow.com, or our new way, you can just text the word refi to 313131. See you in a second.
You want to invest in today's real estate market and take advantage of the low values, but the property needs work. What do? Polaris Equity Group provides an answer with its market-exclusive 100% rehab program. The Polaris loan covers the purchase price, down payment, rehab budget, 6 months of interest, and lender's costs, all in exchange for a profit split between you and us. Call Polaris Equity Group to hear more about it. 949-727-4333. That's 949-727-4333. Take advantage of their exclusive 100% rehab program. 949-727-4333. Or find us online at polarisequitygroup.com.
This is Nelson from the Dino and Nelson Show, and I want to talk to you about our expertise outside the studio. Combined, Dino and I bring 45 years of mortgage experience to First Centennial Mortgage. We've successfully advised our clients through the most challenging economic and mortgage times. The recession of the late 80s, the housing crisis of the early 90s, the equity lending exuberance of the early 2000s, and now the mortgage meltdown and loss of home values since 2008. Bottom line, professional and experienced loan advisors to help you protect your home and real estate investments. This week has brought new attention to high balance loans, jumbo fixed rates up to $2 million with 30-year rates below 4.25%, 15-year rates below 3.75%, and if you can believe it, 5-year fixed rates in the high 2s. Let's face it, fixed interest rates in the high 2s for loan amounts up to $2 million. Call Dino and Nelson, expert loan advisors, direct at 888-814-3335. Ask about their jumbo fixed rates in the high 2s up to $2 million. That's Dino and Nelson at 888-814-3335. 888-814-3335 or the DinoandNelsonShow.com.
All rates referred can change without notice. First Centennial Mortgage licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 132763.
We have reviewed your application for credit, and at this time we are unable to approve you. The dreaded credit denial letter. You've had strong credit, but life got in the way and companies are turning you down. The Dino and Nelson Show has a solution with Saving My Credit. Saving My Credit offers highly skilled specialists and a research methodology that is consistently applied to improving your financial situation. Nagging collection accounts, late pays, tax liens, bankruptcies, charge-offs are some of the many examples of negative reporting that leads to credit denial. Saving My Credit applies rigorous energy, experience, and resourcefulness to raise your credit score. Your credit is approved. It would feel so much better, wouldn't it? Contact Saving My Credit at 714-699-4680 or savingmycredit.com. That's 714-699-4680. 714-699-4680 or online at savingmycredit.com.
This is Nelson from the Dino and Nelson Show, and finally, a reputable legal firm. CDA Law Center, a nationally recognized nonprofit homeowner advocate, one of the most trusted firms in the country for helping consumers with their loan modification process. CDA's attorneys have decades of combined experience guiding their clients through the very complex and choppy waters of loan modification. Call 877-499-4435. 877-499-4435. Finally, honest and ethical advice to gain real results. Call CDA Law Center at 877-499-4435 or online at cdalawcenter.com.
Welcome back to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk, AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335, 888-814-3335, or at the DinoandNelsonShow.com. This segment is brought to you by USA National Title, superior customer service without compromise. And we have two very special guests today, Colleen Rogers and Joe Stepanenko from Keller Williams and Associates. Keller Williams has over 75,000 associates, international audience. And they reach they have more than 700 franchise offices throughout the United States and Canada. So welcome, Colleen and Joe.
Thank you for having us here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, earlier I was asking Joe, how exactly do I pronounce your last name? And it's Joe Stepanenko, right?
Joe Stepanenko.
But how did you tell me to remember it?
Think of step on your ankle.
Step on your ankle.
Step on your
ankle. So for the rest
Perfect.
of this show, just remember every time Joe talks, step on your ankle. Okay?
Keller Williams has a huge presence here in California. I didn't know the scope of the organization from a national and international basis. It's a huge company, huh?
We are growing, and we have a huge opportunity of growth in Orange County right now. Right now in Orange County and San Diego, we have about 16 franchises currently open, and we're looking to expand. And we are taking the opportunity of the market right now to utilize the tools that Keller Williams offers our associates to really help them capitalize and become top producers in a market where everyone seems that it's dismal, but it's really not dismal in the Keller Williams size.
A lot of technical changes. Is it hard to keep up?
Well, I don't know about being so hard to keep up. It's just an incredible market we're in right now, and I've seen 2 or 3 different shifts since I've been in the business. And
which yesterday you said it was about 105 years.
Exactly.
Nice of you to bring that up.
I know, and I look so great for my age. It's perfect.
So with the technology specifically, we have these different tools that we can use. I know when we're in your offices, you have the homes that are showcased right in the lobby on the screens. You have live monitors that can tour homes. I mean, that's so different than how you and I started in the industry 105 years ago.
Oh, exactly, and it's actually wonderful because our current buyers right now, that as you said earlier in the segment, are really realizing that it just doesn't get any better than this. The cost to buy a home on a monthly basis is incredible. And they all are high-tech kids that are coming into our marketplace, and they use all these systems to find their home, and then they find somebody to actually write the offer for them. So it's very critical to be on the cutting edge of technology right now.
Have you found somebody that this is just a question that I was thinking about. Have you found somebody that came in, toured the property through some of these virtual tours, and actually said, yep, that's it, I want to make an offer?
Absolutely. Happens all the time.
It does happen all the time without even physically driving to the property.
Well, they'll want to see that, of course, but
Yeah.
I mean, they've already sort of, I'd say 50% have made up their mind already because they've searched on the web.
That's amazing. That's just amazing to me. And so, all right, all kidding aside, 105 years of experience, but with the time that you have been in the industry, it's been, what, 27 years or so?
27 years, yes.
27 years, and we talked about something about generational sales. Sales that you've done over and over and over again. I think there was one home that you had sold multiple times. So what's that about?
Well, it's kind of interesting. You pick an area, we call it a farm area. So you start when you're new and you door knock and you get to know the people in the farm and you help them with garage sales and meet them and so forth. And then over the years, somebody says, sell my house. And 27 years later, fast forward, you're selling the same house the 4th time. And so the house, to me, builds a character, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and you've seen that you have one example where you've actually sold one property 4 times over, and you've seen the property morph, go through different families.
Yes, and get remodeled at least 4 times.
Is that right? That's amazing.
In case you just jumped into your car, this is the Dino and Nelson Show on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335, 888-814-3335, or at the DinoandNelsonShow.com. This segment is brought to you by USA National Title, superior customer service without compromise. And we're speaking with Colleen Rogers, the operations manager of the Anaheim Hills, Your Belinda office, and Joe Stepanenko, top producer for Keller Williams.
So, Joe, on the drive up, we had a conversation about how specific you are with customers, and you used a term that I found intriguing in terms of broadcasting versus narrowcasting. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I remember there was a top producer in a company, and I got to talk to him a little bit years back, and he was trying to tell us that so often when we come into the industry, we're trying to be everything for everybody, and that doesn't always work because then you're just all over the place. So he used that terminology. We should stop broadcasting and start narrowcasting. And those of us that have been in the industry a long time, we are what we call farmers. So we pick an area that we're familiar with and we know the homes, and we focus on that. And a lot of times you can think in terms of, well, I should go over here or over there or whatever, but that's what we mean by that. In other words, focus on what you're really good at, where you're really at. You could be the condo king, or you could be a specific beach person that handles a specific area. And I think that's what that means.
Yeah, and I think that's so insightful, too. I mean, I know as a business practice, Dino and I do the very same thing in wanting to be very specific. We're specialists in certain areas. We're not doing all kinds of financing in terms of commercial or multifamily or this or that. We have a very narrow focus, and we're experts like yourself in that area. So your office is headquartered in East Orange County, and that has some distinctives all of its own. Tell me a little bit about your marketplace, East Orange County.
Well, each city has its own flavor. I guess that's a good place to start. My area that I've started in and worked consistently in is the city of Placentia, and it's a bedroom community. Yorba Linda is more horse property. So each city, Brea, Fullerton, Anaheim Hills, each city has something to offer the consumer that maybe complements what they're looking for. So it's just a great...
what is a bedroom community?
A bedroom community is a community that is basically built so that you could come in as a family and start out as a young family with your children, and the house, you just grow into the house. 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms. It accommodates families to grow in it, and it doesn't have a lot of commercial. It doesn't have a lot of industry in it. It's all about the schools and the families and the homes within it.
Just a good neighborhood
Yes.
type of home.
And you had talked about it. It was interesting in your marketplace, a certain type of home, typically larger, 5 bedrooms. Mm-hmm. It was either 3 up and 2 down, or 2 up and 3 down. But that's a specific style that you see in your area.
Yes, they got very creative when they built tracks in there specifically to accommodate families to grow. And surprisingly enough, there's still a lot of original homeowners in the city of Placentia, and these homes were built in the 60s.
And do you see them being torn down and rebuilt? Has that wave come through your area, or is it mostly just remodels and as opposed to reconstruction?
Oh, no teardowns so much as reconstruction and homes just getting remodeled in the 80s, getting remodeled in the 90s, and now again getting remodeled again in 2012.
This is Dino from the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335, 888-814-3335, or at the DinoandNelsonShow.com. We'll be back right after these commercials with more of Colleen Rogers and Joe Stepanenko.
In a chaotic real estate market, you want peace of mind when it comes to the home you're purchasing. Roadrunner Exterminating, a family-owned and operated company providing structural repairs, local treatments, and fumigation. Roadrunner Exterminating is a licensed, bonded, and insured expert in termite, pest control, and general contracting. For fast and efficient service, plus the peace of mind of knowing the condition of your new home, call Roadrunner Exterminating at 866-398-BUGS. That's 866-398-BUGS. Or on the web at roadrunnerexterminating.com. As always, mention the Dino and Nelson Show and get a free home inspection. 866-398-BUGS or roadrunnerexterminating.com. General Contractor License 922404. Nominal fee for escrow inspections.
This is Nelson from the Dino and Nelson Show, and I want to tell you about one of our show partners, Efficient Services Escrow. As the name implies, Efficient Services Escrow provides lenders, realtors, home buyers, and sellers with fast, efficient, but most importantly, worry-free specialty escrow services. Dino and I know firsthand that real estate transactions can be complex and layered with areas of exposure for details to be handled incorrectly. The number one reason we work with Efficient Services Escrow is their seasoned veterans are reliable, proactive, and best of all, provide us worry-free escrow services. With any real estate sale, purchase, or refinance, call our trusted friends at Efficient Services Escrow, 949-208-9600. That's 949-208-9600, and let them know that Dino and Nelson sent you. Efficient Services Escrow at 949-208-9600 or online at efficientescrow.com.
What do you do when your bank simply says no to your real estate purchase? Polaris Equity Group provides an answer. Yes, our flexible purchase and bridge loan programs are the direct result of our involvement in more than 3,000 transactions of varying size and complexity. Since 1991, Polaris has completed over $500 million in real estate investment transactions using both debt and equity solutions. When the bank says no, Call Polaris Equity Group to hear yes. 949-727-4333. That's 949-727-4333. Logical decisions to execute a timely close. 949-727-4333. Or find us online at polarisequitygroup.com.
We've reviewed your application for credit at this time, and we're unable to approve you. The dreaded credit denial. You had strong credit, but life got in the way and companies are turning you down. The Dino and Nelson Show has a solution with Saving My Credit. Saving My Credit offers highly skilled specialists and a research methodology that is consistently applied to improve your financial situation. Nagging collection accounts, late pays, tax liens, bankruptcies, charge-offs are some of the many examples of negative reporting that leads to credit denial. Saving My Credit applies rigorous energy, experience, and resourcefulness to raising your credit score. How about this instead? Your credit is approved. It sounds so much better. Contact Saving My Credit at 714-699-4680 or savingmycredit.com. That's 714-699-4680. 714-699-4680 or online at savingmycredit.com. This is Nelson from the Dino and Nelson Show, and I want to talk to you about our expertise outside the studio. Combined, Dino and I bring 45 years of mortgage experience to First Centennial Mortgage. We've successfully advised our clients through the most challenging economic and mortgage times. The recession of the late 80s, the housing crisis of the early 90s, the equity lending exuberance of the early 2000s, and now the mortgage meltdown and loss of home values since 2008. Bottom line, professional and experienced loan advisors to help you protect your home and real estate investments. This week has brought new attention to high balance loans, jumbo fixed rates up to $2 million with 30-year rates below 4.25%, 15-year rates below 3.75%, and if you can believe it, 5-year fixed rates in the high 2s. Let's face it, fixed interest rates in the high 2s for loan amounts up to $2 million. Call Dino and Nelson, expert loan advisors, direct at 888-814-3335. Ask about their jumbo fixed rates in the high 2s up to $2 million. That's Dino and Nelson at 888-814-3335. 888-814-3335 or the DinoandNelsonShow.com.
All rates referred can change without notice. First Centennial Mortgage licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 132763.
The Dino and Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Dino and Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com.
Welcome back to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk, AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. We're speaking to Colleen Rogers, Operations Manager for Keller Williams at the Anaheim Hills, Yorba Belinda area, and Joe Stepp, our top producing agent from Keller Williams.
They know you as Joe Stepp in your marketplace.
Yes, they do.
They just couldn't. They couldn't figure out the Stepanenko.
No, it's easier to just say Joe Stepp.
And you've been in your marketplace for so many years. You raised your family in your marketplace, correct?
Yes, I did.
And so with that, you obviously are connected. You're connected in the community. Tell me a little bit about Placentia specifically. That's your farm area, right?
It is, and I'm just so grateful for all the families and people who have put their trust and faith in me over all these years I've been in the industry.
Yeah.
And it just keeps coming back to me again and again, and that's actually, I think, why I'm in this industry. I just love it. I love to be able to help these people.
How'd you get in? How'd you get into real estate?
Oh, that's a good story. I was out looking for a rental property for myself, and I called into a real estate office and got a new girl on the phone and wanted to go see some properties. And she showed me around, but the whole time she never qualified me, asked me what I was doing or anything. And we had our money down on a new house in Yorba Linda, and my house had just expired because the agent never called me back. She never asked me any of those questions, but she wanted to show me this house that she'd seen the day before, and she just thought it was such a great house. She wanted to share that with me. Well, long story short, I ended up buying that house, and she ended up listing my house, and I was the only 2 deals she ever did.
Ah, is that right?
And my husband said to me, why don't you do this industry? I think you understand it better than she did. And that was the beginning of a long, long story.
You know, it's funny. It's interesting because back when we started, this is how real estate was. A couple would be out on the weekend. They'd stumble into a home, like it, come out, and an offer would be signed. And then there'd be that deer in headlights kind of a response as they get into their car of, we're under a contract. We're just buying a home. And now it's completely different. I know on your website you list the 8 steps to prepare a home buyer, or 8 steps of being a buyer.
Before you ask that, because it's a great question, but I've been waiting here. I want to ask Joe this question. So it all started with your husband saying, why don't you do that?
Yes.
Right. So it started with your husband wanting you to earn income. I got one question. Is your husband still working?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is. Okay, I thought maybe he retired by now and you were still working.
No, wait a minute. He's been at conventions with a T-shirt with a picture of me on the front of the T-shirt, and on the back it says, buy a home from my wife, I get more toys.
I love this guy. I do. I love him. This is great.
You're just waiting for your wife to retire you.
I am going to go buy the T-shirt first, and then I'm going to propose it to her.
Perfect.
Done. Okay, step number 3, 8 steps to buying a home.
8 steps to buying a home. And obviously in the first 2 steps, one is making the decision, I want to be a home buyer. Second, identifying an agent. And how should somebody go about that? What steps should they just go through in selecting an agent?
Well, I guess first you look up Joe Stepp. And,
I was going to lead with that. Just call me and I'll help you out. But I really think it's one of the most important decisions that you make. And I think it's very, very important that you be careful who you choose. Both as a lender and a real estate agent. I think those are the 2 most important choices before you get started. Get pre-qualified, pick somebody that you trust, and go from there. The rest of it, I have to honestly say, people buy on emotion and justify it later. It's what we do for everything that we buy, cars, houses. So you just got to get them out there and find that magic house that makes them just feel really good.
And you had financing as third in line behind that the 8 steps. And so why is that such an important thing to put in the beginning of the process?
Well, you can get really disappointed if you don't put it at the beginning of the process. Let's say that you assume that you can afford a $500,000 house, and I take you out and show you a $500,000 house, and you're absolutely in love, and the world will come to an end if you don't get it. And then I go, well, let's go talk to Mr. Nelson and see what he says. And Mr. Nelson says, well, you only qualify for a $425,000 house.
That's when you say, let's go talk to Mr. Dino.
Or Mr. Dino.
Yeah, he gets you up to 500. No problem.
That makes sense. So, and I'm just saying that then they're disappointed, and now it's a reflection on you, and they may just forget the whole process for a while. So I think it's very important that they feel very comfortable with what their payment is going to be. Because after all, in this market, in your earlier segment, you talked about the interest rates. From a buyer's perspective, it's about cost. What's it going to cost me to own this house every month? Because now they can buy so much more. And from a seller's perspective, it's what's the value of my home and what am I going to put in my pocket? So there's those 2 things, and you have to get a win-win with both of them.
Do you think home buyers are intimidated with how much they can qualify for now, with the interest rates down where they are, where we talked about mortgage rates in the millions now, or for loan amounts in the millions that are approaching the low 4s? I have that response of people saying, gosh, there's no way I would ever sign up for $1 million property or $1.5 million property. Is that a common reaction you hear as well?
Absolutely. They actually think that, I can't buy a house for $650. I go, well, let me show you what your payment will be. And they're just totally amazed. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a shock. I mean, our interest rates are incredible.
Do you know, I know what the very first loan I did was a first-time purchase for a young married couple. This was down in Vista. Their purchase price was $125,000. And I thought at that time, oh, that is crazy. Young married couple signing up for a $125,000 loan. Now they're doing $125,000 cars, and for first-time home buyers are buying in what range?
Yeah, well, now they're buying, 5 is kind of close to the average, $455,000, $550,000 for an entry-level home buyer. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. What is a median price in Placentia?
I would say it's right about there, $450,000 to $500,000.
in Placentia specifically in your marketplace? Have you seen the same influx that we've seen countywide in terms of foreclosure and short sale activity?
Yeah, it's kind of a good barometer. In the city of Placentia, we've been averaging about under 100 homes, maybe about 80, 90. It bounces around. And if you
in terms of available properties?
Exactly.
Okay.
Active, available. And the problem is when you look at that, they're not necessarily all active. Let's say 40 or 50% of them are short sales or REOs or some sort of distressed property. They may be showing active, but they probably have offers into the bank and they're just leaving them active. So our inventory may be as low as like 50, and that's a very, very low inventory for the amount of buyers that are coming out to play right now.
Casey just jumped into your car. We're speaking to Joe Stepp from Keller Williams, and this is the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335, 888-814-3335.
You know, something I look at when I'm making a decision on companies is what they do back for the community, how they give back. And this is something I'm really excited to read about, to learn about with Keller Williams. There's a huge amount of community involvement. One was just this last May 10th. I think it's an annual event. It's called Red Day. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Colleen, tell me a little bit about Red Day. What is that?
Well, Red Day, it's really a unique day that our company celebrates each year. It started about 3 years ago in honor of Mo Anderson, who is truly our cultural icon of our company and who really is based in Austin, but we really feel her presence really on a local level in our market center. And so Red Day really stands for Renew, Energize, and Donate. And one of the employees at our headquarters had actually came up with this day for all of our associates across the country, so over 75,000, to spend one day each year to give back to the community on a massive scale and in honor of Mo. So May 10th was our Red Day here in Yorba Linda, and we had the honor of holding a bake sale for the Boys and Girls Club of Brea. And Joe Stepanenko is actually our culture committee chairperson at our office, and she was the head of actually putting together this great event and getting the Boys and Girls Club involved and really rallying all the troops in our office. So Joe,
you have a rich history with the Boys and Girls Club. What's that all about?
I do. When it was just originally the Boys Club of Placentia, I was a past president years ago. It's a passion of mine because these children that live in these areas that have a place to go while their parents are both working and so forth, if they don't have a place to go after school, then they begin to make gangs and then they get
find
in trouble
and trouble finds them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so most recently, the place in Placentia where they used to go on Crother has been closed down, and one of my passions, or one of my big dreams, would be to get a whole new building for them. So if I could ever do that, that would be wonderful.
You mentioned that was on your bucket list when you get your 1,000th home sold, that you would reopen the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, I don't know about the thousands. I think I've already passed that.
Have
mark.
you? Sorry about that. 10,000th home sold.
That's the number. There it is.
Now, is that how you got your nickname, the Princess of Placentia?
I'm not sure.
It's probably your husband nicknamed you that, huh?
No, it's, I'd say...
I wish he was here wearing that T-shirt right now.
Gosh, you need to do me a favor, Joe. Take a picture of him, front and back, and send it to me. I'm going to put it on the website.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
We should just do a little promotional free lunch with every T-shirt. We'll give out half a dozen T-shirts. There's probably a half a dozen left, right?
No.
So you've done some other community efforts, and I just want to touch on a couple before we end our segment here. Habitat for Humanity.
Yes, I got involved in that when I decided to start a extraordinary women's group. And so we got a bunch of women together, and we would meet once a month, and we would try to think of what we could do that would be good in the community. That evolved, and we knew about Habitat when we saw the signs, the Homes for Heroes. We knew that we're building in San Juan Capistrano some specific homes for veterans.
Yeah, I think especially on the heels of Memorial Day this past weekend.
It's very passionate.
And so many military staff and personnel that are returning. The Homes for Heroes specifically is providing just that, homes for people that have been injured, or how does that work?
Touched somehow from the war or their family, and they need a home.
Yeah.
And they actually have to put in a lot of hours to get these homes, so it's not just handed to them, and you have to participate and help build them, which we did as well.
Joe, Colleen, it's been great having you on the program. I appreciate it. And for anyone that's listening out in the Anaheim Hills, Yorba Linda,
Placentia,
the Princess of Placentia.
Thank you.
We'd encourage you to contact Joe, and she'll take good care of you.
And you can find Joe's information on our website, thedinoandnelsonshow.com, or you can call us direct at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335, and we'll put you in touch with Joe Stepp. Joe and Colleen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us today.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
We've reviewed your application for credit at this time, and we're unable to approve you. The dreaded credit denial. You had strong credit, but life got in the way and companies are turning you down. The Dino and Nelson Show has a solution with Saving My Credit. Saving My Credit offers highly skilled specialists and a research methodology that is consistently applied to improve your financial situation. Nagging collection accounts, late pays, tax liens, bankruptcies, charge-offs are some of the many examples of negative reporting that leads to credit denial. Saving My Credit applies rigorous energy, experience, and resourcefulness to raising your credit score. How about this instead? Your credit is approved. It sounds so much better. Contact Saving My Credit at 714-699-4680 or savingmycredit.com. That's 714-699-4680. 714-699-4680 or online at savingmycredit.com.
What do you do when your bank simply says no to your real estate purchase? Polaris Equity Group provides an answer. Yes. Our flexible purchase and bridge loan programs are the direct result of our involvement in more than 3,000 transactions of varying size and complexity. Since 1991, Polaris has completed over $500 million in real estate investment transactions using both debt and equity solutions. When the bank says no, call Polaris Equity Group to hear yes. 949-727-4333. That's 949-727-4333. Logical decisions to execute a timely close. 949-727-4333. Or find us online at polarisequitygroup.com.
In a chaotic real estate market, you want peace of mind when it comes to the home you're purchasing. Roadrunner Exterminating, a family-owned and operated company providing structural repairs, local treatments, and fumigation. Roadrunner Exterminating is a licensed, bonded, and insured expert in termite, pest control, and general contracting. For fast and efficient service, plus the peace of mind of knowing the condition of your new home, call Roadrunner Exterminating at 866-398-BUGS. That's 866-398-BUGS. Or on the web at roadrunnerexterminating.com. As always, mention the Dino and Nelson Show and get a free home inspection. 866-398-BUGS or roadrunnerexterminating.com. General Contractor License 922404. Nominal fee for escrow inspections.
The Dino and Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Dino and Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com.
Welcome back to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. This next segment is brought to you by Polaris Equity Group, private money lenders. So we have a special guest here today, Scott Heinkel from Roadrunner Exterminating. He owns Roadrunner, I think, for 30 years, Scott?
We've been in business for 11 years now. I've been in the business for over 30 years.
So you're an old timer with the rodents.
Big time bug killer.
Big time bug killer.
And is that something your wife put you in, or you decided to do yourself?
I've been in it a lot longer than I've been married, but my wife is in it. It's a family-owned business.
Yeah, and so the history here is years ago I was introduced to the Heinkels, and I did their mortgage actually. And then I ended up doing some of their guys' mortgages and a bunch of their friends. And so here we are now years later, and we got this successful radio show going, and we wanted to bring on Scott and have him talk a little bit about the industry as a whole, because there is it is part of buying a house, and there is a whole side of things that you need to know before you buy.
And it's a critical part. I mean, people don't understand. I think you kind of lurk in the shadows, if you will, in terms of the importance that your company plays in a home purchase. Maybe comment on that in terms of what home buyers would discover if, in fact, you weren't doing home inspections.
Well, we do disclose a lot. Our report's more than just a termite report. It's called a wood-destroying organism report, and things that are conducive to causing those problems. So things as far as dry rot, termites, water leaks, things like that come up in our report. And our report will cross over things that may be found in a home inspection report. So between the two reports, you get a good picture of the property that you're looking at and potentially looking to purchase. So you know the problems you may have or that you may have to deal with, you know, in making your negotiations to buy the property.
And in some of those reports, don't you estimate out like this is a severe problem, something that needs to be taken care of right away, or this is something that could be a problem down the road, but isn't necessarily something that needs to be fixed?
Well, they're defined in Section 1 and Section 2, which is things that actually have infestation or infection, or things that are conducive to causing them, you know, if let go. So it really doesn't give a severity of how much termite damage is there, but it will tell you that there's termite damage there, which will come up in the Section 1. The Section 2 may be where you have a leaking shower pan, and if it's not corrected, then it's going to obviously start rotting the walls and cause other issues like that, or a roof leak, things like that. So those are things that may be conducive that you may need to get addressed.
And termites are prevalent in Southern California.
Just like flying popcorn.
Yeah. See, there's another popcorn reference. You know, I'm not the only one.
We have actually a few breeds of termites in Southern California. The most prevalent one that we deal with would be drywood termites. That's when you may see a tent on a house. That would be for a drywood termite. We do have some subterranean termite issues. We have powder post beetles, carpenter bees, carpenter ants. So there's a little bit of general things that could infest a property. But drywood termites probably the most common thing that you'll see come up.
And you've gone into properties that since construction have never been treated, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what are those properties like? Are they just being held up by masking tape, or what?
Oh, in some areas, especially the outer lying areas,
like
outer Coto, the village part of Coto, or Silverado Canyon, you know, in Orange County, would be some areas that you could find some stuff that's really been chewed on. You got dry rot and termite. You got to remember, termites and rot were put on the earth to decompose dead trees. We build our houses out of dead trees, so you know, lo and behold, they're just trying to put it back into the ground.
Right. And you're throughout Southern California, correct?
Correct.
And one question that came up, the size of the home really doesn't make any difference. I mean, you have inspected homes anywhere from the 800 square foot bungalows all the way up to
50,000 square feet.
50,000 square foot home.
Yeah.
That was Dino's?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So the termites, obviously, that's the common thing that people look to, but there's all sorts of other kinds of infestation. Now, you mentioned some of the ants and whatnot, but I remember, Dino, on my neighbor's home, they heard a buzzing in their wall and had an beehives, exactly. And it was garbage cans full of hive.
They are, if they're let go for a long time, and the bees will leave a pheromone in there. So even though you may just have the exterminator come out and eradicate that beehive, if you don't remove the honeycombs inside, the next hive that goes by says, oh, there's a home, they're back in. So a lot of times it's important to go in and extract that beehive and properly clean it up and then reseal that area up so you don't get a reinfestation. But they can be a real problem because then the honey gets running down the walls if it's not taken out properly, if you just kill the bees, and can cause a lot of mold and rodent issues too.
A lot of companies do that. They just kill the bees and then off they go, correct?
They can, yes. Yeah.
What about spiders? That's the one thing that that time of year everybody can't stand.
You don't like spiders, do you, Dino?
I don't mind, but I'm the one that has to kill them all the time, so it's a pain in my butt.
Yeah.
And they can be a pain too, because you need to treat the web area a lot because they're eating their webs, and so they can be a little tricky. That's why it's good to get a professional in there to take care of that. Just spraying some areas with something out of Home Depot probably going to help you a whole lot.
Now, can somebody call you? You guys come down, do one treatment, and it's over, or is it the type of thing where you have to kind of do for 2 months, 3 months?
Well, it depends on where you're at and the pressure that you have around you. If you're in an area where they're constantly going to come up, you're gonna you're going to have a breakdown of your treatment over time, and then you're going to have a reinfestation. We get into condos and things like that, especially if the neighbors next door are infested. And as soon as
and you're just doing spot treatment as opposed to the building treatment.
Yeah, they just keep coming back on you. So, a bi-monthly treatment, something like that on general pest control is not a bad thing.
And you have a construction component of your business. I imagine with these early detection or just any kind of detection before these homes close, it saves thousands. It has to.
It does. We're a general contractor also. We do try to be a full service, especially in the real estate agent, so we can do the repairs that come up on there so the agent doesn't have to go out and track everybody down. But we do the dry rot, termite damage repair along with the identification also.
And Scott, we want to thank you so much for coming down and talking about that. And
Thank
also
you.
to everybody else, Scott's been generous enough to offer his services. If you're willing to sign up for a year-long program where they come out and do their service once a month, he's going to give you 1 month for free.
Great.
Is that right?
That's perfect.
All right, good. I kind of threw that at him, but it looks like he's doing it. So if you'd like to get a hold of Scott, call Roadrunner Exterminating at
949-645-3316.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you, guys.
In case you just jumped into your car, this is the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335 or at thedinoandnelsonshow.com.
We're going to close up this last segment with some questions for you, Dino. The Stump Dino. This shouldn't be so hard. And we have actually a question that came up, and it comes up common with married couples, how they should take title. I brought somebody on the line that's going to address just that question.
I thought it was Stump Dino. Why are you bringing somebody else on the line for?
Because you wouldn't know the answer.
Gosh. Actually, I do know the answer, but here's the deal. We're not allowed to actually give advice like this because we can get in trouble, so we're going to call a professional and ask him. This is Bill from USA National Title. Hi, Bill. This is Dino from the Dino and Nelson Show. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Dino. Yourself?
Good. Thank you. Hey, we got a bunch of questions here that are confusing married couples, and we wanted to ask you, the president of USA National Title, what the best way to hold title is as a married couple.
Certainly. Question comes up quite a bit. There's a few options. The best way is really a personal choice. Your choices come down to community property with rights of survivorship, joint tenancy, or tenancy in common.
So what's the difference? I know a lot of my clients go joint tenancy.
Sure.
But then I have other ones that say I consulted an attorney and they told us to do community property with rights of survivorship.
Perfect. Question comes up a lot. Often the difference is not too much. It's more of a preference of what your attorney or accountant wants to state. What happens in either situation, should one spouse die, the entire interest passes to the other with a simple recording of an affidavit death of spouse or an affidavit death of joint tenant. Simple form, needs a death certificate. It's recorded. There's no probate needed. Life is good. More at that point of what does your accountant or your attorney want you to do? Many accountants seem to prefer community property with rights of survivorship.
Do you know if there's and I know this is beyond your realm maybe because you're not a CPA, but is there a tax benefit to being right of survivorship, or is it just truly if you pass, what's the easiest way for the family?
If you pass the easiest way, they're completely equal. And I'm certainly not a CPA, but my CPA has my wife and I do the same. Other than that, go into a trust.
Okay.
But there seems to accordingly be community property on its own. Unfortunately, can be subject to probate. As is a tenancy in common. Occasionally, spouses want to be tenants in common. Unfortunately, they then have to quit claim to each other for the community property rights of the other spouse under that tenancy.
Well, that answers all our questions. Thank you, Bill. We really appreciate it. It's
right.
Bill from USA National Title.
And very quickly, just to round out this program, we have a couple more questions. Listeners that have called in and asked these questions. Out of Buena Park, is the foreclosure crisis ending?
I don't know about the specifics of Buena Park, but in general, like we talked about earlier in the show, yes, the foreclosure crisis is ending. The market is strong. Prices are going for more than what asking is, and there's multiple offers. Rates are fantastic, yes.
And out of Los Angeles, are loans getting easier, the perception that people can't qualify?
Yes, loans are getting easier. There's other little things that have become more difficult, but in general, the loan process has become easier.
Concern out of your hometown in San Clemente, should I just rent and avoid guessing on the real estate cycle?
You don't, for an FHA loan, all you need is 3.5% down, so it's not all that much. However, in certain neighborhoods, like beach communities, it is more expensive to buy. So, maybe renting's a better decision just because it's cheap, but you're never going to get the appreciation you would as a homeowner. So I'm going that route. It depends on your situation. But as far as guessing the real estate cycle, no, just stop guessing the real estate life cycle. If you can afford to buy, yes, buy.
The numbers don't lie. And then out of Palos Verdes, the HARP 2.0 program, this is the homeowner bailout, people that have lost their equity. Is that good for our economy, or does that hurt our economy?
I'm not always everybody's favorite for saying it, because I mean, the bailout is I guess, okay, and it does help people. But in general, a few years back when they started the whole thing, I was more in the position of don't do that. Just let it crash faster, let it get there sooner, and let's get out of it faster.
And you think that the HARP 2.0 is a part of the bailout program? I mean, if somebody has a 6.25% interest rate, simply lost their equity, they've been paying their bills, shouldn't they be able to get a lower interest rate?
At this point in the game, yes, I think they need to keep going with the program. They need to keep helping people, and they need to help people that aren't just Fannie Freddie owned properties, because there's a whole bunch there that don't receive help. Anyways, this Stump Dino thing really wasn't all that difficult, so
yeah,
sorry,
well,
Nelson. Maybe
wait till next week.
Harder.
Yeah, I'm going to wick it up.
You're listening to the Dino and Nelson Show here on K-Talk AM 1150. We can be reached at 888-814-3335. That's 888-814-3335. Or if you're interested in doing a loan with us, you can text the word REFI, R-E-F-I, to the number 313131. That's text the word REFI to 313131. See you next week. Thank you.